Just imagine. There's a smartphone, right? And on it is the one text message that could blow a multi-million-dollar fraud case wide open. But here's the catch. If you access it the wrong way, you could change the timestamp, you could accidentally delete the message, or worse, you could make the entire phone useless in court. The stakes? They're incredibly high. So how do digital detectives create a space where they can dissect this kind of evidence without, completely destroying it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
So before we even talk about buildings or fancy equipment, it all really comes down to one single question. When you are standing at a digital crime scene, what is the absolute #1 first rule you have to follow?
That's it. In all caps, just like you see it, preserve everything. Before you analyze a single thing, before you even think about investigating, you have to preserve. Every single action a forensics investigator takes is built on this one foundational idea. Your main job is to protect that evidence exactly as you found it.
And look, this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it is the absolute core of the job. As this guide from the Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator Certification makes crystal clear, the second that evidence is in your hands, you become its guardian. And that huge responsibility is exactly why you need a specialized, secure place to work. So, that brings us right to the idea of the digital crime scene. See, before you can build a lab, you have to get what its purpose is. It's not just some office with fast computers. It's more like a sterile clean room for digital evidence, designed from the ground up to uphold that primary duty: preservation. This whole responsibility really just boils down to two basic things. First, you've got to protect the evidence from just vanishing, whether someone steals it, destroys it, or it just gets lost. And second, you have to protect it from the environment itself. I mean, think about it. Just like a footprint can contaminate a physical crime scene, something as simple as dust or static electricity can compromise a digital one.
Okay, so with those principles burned into our minds, we can start to build. But we're not just putting up an office here, we're building a fortress, a secure facility designed to protect digital secrets and maintain the integrity of every single piece of evidence that comes through those doors. In that fortress? Well, it all starts with the location. You absolutely need to be close to emergency services, just in case. You need power and internet that are rock solid. And you have to think about the outside too. Good lighting is a must, and you want to get rid of any potential hiding spots for intruders like overgrown bushes or dark corners. Yeah, security starts before you even get to the front door. This slide here does a great job of showing how security is all about layers, from the most basic to the most intense. Level 1 is pretty much any typical office. Level 2, you add a fence. Now by level 3, we're talking restricted access, staff only, using keycards. And at the very top, level 4, you need biometrics, a thumbprint, a palm scan, just to walk in. Each level builds on the last one to create a perimeter that's truly secure.
And once you're inside, the defenses just keep coming. You need alarms, obviously. You need cameras watching all the key areas. A single monitored entrance is absolutely critical. You can't have people slipping in and out through unobserved side doors. And every single person who isn't an employee has to be signed into a visitor logbook, no exceptions.
So why is a simple paper logbook so incredibly important? It's all about maintaining the chain of custody. Now, this is a legal term, and it's basically a document that tracks the entire life of a piece of evidence. Who handled it, when they handled it, where and why. If there's a single gap in that chain, say an unauthorized person was in the lab and you can't prove who it was, a defense attorney can argue the evidence was tampered with, and your whole case could get thrown right out of court. This table from one of our sources gives a fantastic overview of how all these security measures actually fit together. It breaks them down into 3 main categories of controls: physical, administrative, and technical. Let's walk through each of these to see how they build a complete security picture.
First up, you've got your physical controls. This is the stuff you can actually, touch and feel. It's the fences outside, the locks on the doors, the fire suppression systems in the ceiling, and the cameras on the walls. These are your first and most obvious lines of defense.
Next, we have the administrative controls. This is really the human layer of security. It covers everything from picking the right location in the first place, to doing background checks on your employees, to setting up super clear security policies and then training everyone on them. Because let's be real, a strong lock doesn't matter much if people don't know they're supposed to use it.
And finally, the third layer is the technical controls. These are the digital defenses that protect the data itself. We're talking about things like strong passwords, firewalls to protect the network, regular backups of all your case data, and really strict file permissions to make sure an analyst can only access the evidence they are specifically assigned to.
So our fortress is built. It's secure physically, administratively, and technically. Now, what do we actually put inside it? Let's talk about the gear, the real tools of the trade for a digital detective. Now, it's really important to see the difference between what you use in the lab versus what you take out to a crime scene. In the lab, you've got massive power, super high-end workstations for analysis, and huge storage networks. But in the field, it's all about being portable and prepared. Laptops for grabbing data on site, a bag stuffed with hard drives, and all the physical tools you need, like evidence bags and cameras. You know, an investigator's field kit is kind of like a digital first aid kit. It's got Faraday bags to isolate things like phones from any network so they can't be remotely wiped. It's got everything for documentation and collection, and it has one of the single most important tools in all of digital forensics, a write blocker. So what on earth is a write blocker? The easiest way to think about it is like a one-way data valve. It lets an investigator see and copy absolutely everything on a suspect's hard drive, but it physically stops their own computer from writing any new data back onto it. Not one single bit can be changed. It's amazing.
And here you can see what one of these things actually looks like in action. This little device sits right between the evidence drive and the investigator's computer. It's basically a gatekeeper, making sure that the process of looking at the evidence can't possibly contaminate the original. It's the ultimate tool for following that #1 rule we talked about: preserve everything.
Okay, so having the fortress and all the cool gear is just part of the battle. To make sure the findings are actually credible and can hold up in a court of law, a forensics lab has to play by a very, very strict set of rules. This is where something called certification comes in. An organization like the American Society of Crime Laboratory Directors, or ASCLD/Lab for short, provides accreditation. You can think of it as an outside audit that proves a lab has the technical skills and management systems to produce valid and reliable results. It's basically a stamp of approval that gives their findings real weight in the legal system. And it's not just the lab that gets certified. The tools do too. The Computer Forensic Tool Testing Project, run by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, puts forensic software through some seriously rigorous tests. It makes sure that when a tool says it can find a deleted file, it actually finds it correctly every single time. This kind of validation is absolutely crucial for proving in court that your methods are sound.
So from the physical security of the fortress to the validated software inside, building a computer forensics lab is all about precision, integrity, and preservation. But you know, it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As digital evidence moves beyond just our phones and laptops and into our cars, our refrigerators, our entire homes, what kind of fortress will digital detectives need to build next?